What's up, guys? I'm out here ready to smoke a new cigar. Pretty excited about this one. This one is a Dunhill aged. Now, of course, the lighting is dark. It is late here, but you guys get the idea. This one is a 6x48. They call this the Condado, I believe. It's kind of an odd size. But anyway, smells like, well, it smells like a barn. If you've ever walked into a barn that has a bunch of hay in it, it's really very, very similar. The foot smells a little bit nutty as well, but it's mostly just screaming like hay and barn, which is a good thing for some people. I know it doesn't sound like something you'd want to taste, but oddly enough, it tastes delicious. So anyway, I'm going to get this cut up right away. Perfecto cutter, which I still love. Alright. Perfect cut. Oh, that's interesting. That tastes really good. Actually tastes kind of creamy, maybe a little bit sweet. Anyway, this one is kind of a pinky up, cigar. Dunhill is very much top shelf. Everything they do. I believe they're based out of London. It's a pretty light pack, but we'll see. We'll see how it smokes. I got some matches here. Usually about $11 to $12 cigar, although it just kind of depends on where you're ordering it from. If you're ordering online, it's about $11, $11.50, something like that. But I've seen people get these for like $8 or $9 as well, so it just depends on your location. But anything double digits to me is, I consider that expensive. If you have a $10 cigar or an $11 cigar, that's expensive considering that there are hundreds of really good premium cigars between like $6 and $9. Alright, so although $11 or $12 doesn't sound like very much, you have to, reference other good cigars. Now, of course, cigars, they get more expensive than that, $20, $30, $40 for rare cigars, but it is kind of rare to see those prices. So anyway, let's give this a shot. I got, like I said, matches here. Look at the artwork on these matches. I don't know where I got these. King Street Coffee and Tobacco Emporium in West Virginia. That's, I don't know, someone sent these. You could see that artwork. If I move my head out of the way, maybe it'll focus. Pretty cool, though. There we go. Very interesting. Anyway, nothing to do with the cigar. Here we go. Alright, we'll go one more match, just make sure we're fully lit. Okay, that is definitely lit. Definitely feels like a light pack. It's a super easy draw. Does not take much to get that smoke pouring in. Flavor's unique. It starts off, definitely how it smells. There's a ton of that hay. But there's a little bit of, I don't know, it's just a little bit creamy. It tasted sweet on the dry draw before I lit it, but I'm not getting that sweetness now that it's lit. This one has a Connecticut wrapper. As you can see, it's pretty light in color. And I believe the binder is Dominican and the filler is a mix between Brazilian and Dominican tobacco. And I think these are made in the Dominican Republic. See that burn? Starting off a little wonky, but we'll see if that self-corrects. Dunhill doesn't have a whole huge selection of cigars. They do have a couple of them. I saw they have an aged Maduro, which I tend to like Maduros a little bit more. They're usually a little bit richer, a little bit stronger in the flavor department. Not always the case, but most of the time for me anyway. I find I prefer a darker wrapper. But it's late here. Christina's gone. She won't be back till midnight. So I have some time to myself. And this is what I decided to do. I just play with Gus for a little while. And I want to come out and have a cigar. It is winter. It is cold. But as you can probably hear in the background, if I shut up for a second, it's raining. So if it's raining, can't be that cold, right? It's kind of borderline between rain and freezing rain. It's got to be probably really high 30s, low 40s right now. A lot of flavor. It seems pretty light as far as the strength so far. But when I say a lot of flavor, it's that hay thing, but it's just a really strong hay. A little bit of cream. It smelled nutty at first, but I don't taste any of that. Ton of smoke. So yeah, I mean, you guys let me know down in the comment section, have you had any Dunhill cigars? I'm very familiar with their pipe tobacco. I've had a slew of different Dunhill pipe tobaccos. Obviously their nightcap is one of the most infamous in the pipe scene. But yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of them. They've all been really good, very high quality. They definitely have a premium though. That Dunhill name carries a certain premium, a little bit more expensive. Some people think it's worth it, some people don't. I can care less what the name says. In fact, I'm actually a little surprised at how plain this band is. You know, some cigar bands on $4 cigars are super ornate, tons of different gold accents and all kinds of stuff. This is just, you know, pretty straightforward, which I actually prefer. I think it's nice. It actually looks like a cheap cigar to me. Visually, it's not selling itself to me. I like the My Father 1922, I think it is. I forget, Bjor, I forget what that was called. That is so ornate and so beautiful, and it's one of the best tasting cigars I've ever had. However, it doesn't mean that it's an expensive cigar. That one happens to be middle of the road to me. I don't think it's super expensive. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. It's just kind of plain Jane to me. Yeah, so that's the start. I will get back to you if something changes or something happens. That burn is already kind of correcting itself. It's smoothing out. So there. But yeah, I mean, that draw is ultra light. Very, very easy to draw in. Because it's a light pack, I don't feel like it's going to last as long. Might be an hour smoke, but we'll see. Right now I started, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes ago. It is 8:30. So I'll let you know, you know, as things progress, how long this thing takes. Alright guys, I'm about 15 minutes in or so. You see that ash holding on very well, which is surprising since it is a light pack. I would assume that would flake off pretty soon, but it's holding. I'm actually turning the camera back on for a minute here because the flavor already changed. So it started off with that heavy hay and a little bit of creaminess. And the hay's kind of still there. Now it's kind of in the background. I'm getting a drier smoke, by the way. That creaminess just completely dropped off. So there's no more kind of cream flavor. And now it's like, it's a little bit earthy. It's super light. It doesn't seem like it's a heavy cigar. It doesn't seem very strong either, so far anyway. But there's an earthiness there, just kind of a dry earth. So that's interesting to me. Complete flavor change, just totally did like a 180. So I figured I'd keep the camera on here, specifically for the ash, but also just to tell you that. I love a cigar that has different flavor transitions. That's always big to me. It's nice to, you know, have different flavor experiences while smoking a single cigar. There's cigars that I like the flavor, but I don't necessarily want to taste that for an hour. You know, so it's of course personal preference. But yeah, I mean, given the choice, I like a cigar that actually changes while you're smoking it. So yeah, it is a little colder out here than I thought without taking a puff. I don't know if you can see my breath or not, but it's starting to get a little bit cold. Anyway, thought I'd leave the camera on until this ash falls. I'm going to hold the ashtray underneath me just in case. It's pretty interesting so far. Like I said, definitely on the lighter side of things, strength-wise. But the flavor is very strong. That earth, although subtle, is flavorful. Alright, here's the ash check to show you guys that ash is holding on. I'm actually pretty surprised. Still got the ashtray here, I don't think you can see. Just in case, I don't want to fall on my lap here. Feel like it's going to drop any second here. That is a good 1.5 inches or so. Maybe it's because it's a lighter pack. You know, it's long filler tobacco. It's a premium cigar. But maybe there's something to that. In the past, lighter pack cigars tend to ash quicker, from my experience. But maybe the lighter weight is what's allowing this to hang on longer. I don't know. I'll wait a second here and take another puff for you. Keeping the camera on just specifically for this. I know some people care about this kind of stuff. If I didn't have a camera here, I would have ashed it already. I don't really care that much. It's hanging in there. Whew. You say getting a little chilly. That's the problem with being bald. Head gets cold. Alright. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of water here. Let that chill in the ashtray for a second. Just because I don't want to, you know, smoke it too hot. Alright. Here we go. Still hanging on. All right. Let that rest carefully. So yeah, there's not much to talk about here in between puffs. Like I said, got the house to myself, just me and Gus. It's a boys' night. And I was watching some Christmas movies earlier. I watched back-to-back, you know, Scrooge slash Christmas Carol. The first one was the 1933, I think I watched, and then the 1955 or 53, one of those. There's a ton of those movies. One of my favorites, I want to say, definitely the Bill Murray Scrooge. It's definitely up there. Kind of tossed between that one, and I think I like the 1984 Christmas Carol. I don't know why, just I don't know the actor's name, but I like who plays Scrooge. I like that version of it, but there's a million of them. Actually, come to think of it, that's probably the most remade Christmas movie there is. Don't you think? Am I missing something? There's like a million versions of Scrooge slash A Christmas Carol slash what else? What else they call it? The Stingiest Man in Town. If you know that version, that's a good version. So 3 different names for the same movie. I like the Jim Carrey one. Came out a few years back. The animated one. That one's pretty good. That's a little darker, which I like about that. It's different. I like that. Not everyone gets that. Anyway, let's get back to the cigar here. Let me know, what's your favorite version of A Christmas Carol? Look at all that smoke output. I'll tell you one thing about this so far, and that is it's not very aromatic at all. Like the room note that's coming off the cigar, it just kind of smells like tobacco. Honestly, it doesn't even smell like a cigar that much to me. One of the best things about walking into a room when someone's smoking a cigar is that smell. There's so many great cigars that put off such an amazing room note. Pipe tobacco, in my opinion, just a notch better. There's so many pipe tobaccos that it literally smells like someone's baking something in the oven. It's just that sweet and delicious smelling. But I like the smell of a cigar when someone else is smoking it. But this one, not so much. There's not much going on there in the smell. Alright, wait another second here for my next puff on this thing. The flavor is still that kind of light earth, dry, very dry tasting to me. I don't know if you guys can tell the give, well, you're not going to be able to tell, but this is perfectly humidified, so it's not tasting dry because it's too dry. That has happened before for some people. But I am very diligent about checking the humidors and making sure everything is spot on. Constantly checking that stuff because I'm so worried about mold, or if the humidity drops too low, then it cracks the wrappers. Now that it's wintertime, people's humidity in their homes are way drier just because everyone has a heat source, and heat dries up the room. So I have to be extra diligent about it and constantly soaking. I use humid beads, so I have to constantly keep soaking those to keep the humidity up. Alright, so anyway, here we go. Another puff. Man, that thing is hanging on there. So right now we're probably at maybe just under 2 inches. I'm going to rest this in the ashtray again. Tell you, a great rolling job on these. That's really what that indicates. People like to see how far the ash holds on. Supposedly the further the better. I don't know, when I'm smoking a cigar I don't want to have to worry about the ash falling, so I'll ash it right away, I don't care. But yeah, some people really care about stuff like that. It does speak to, you know, how it's rolled, those leaves. There we go. Alright, I'm going to say that was a solid 2 inches. If you're into long ash, there it is right there. That's the thing these days, right? You got to have a big ash. No one wants no, you know, dinky little flat thing. You got to get that big bubble ash. Ash! Come on, people. I know you hear me, right? Now I can swing this thing around. I don't have to worry about anything. Alright, I'll get back if anything changes. That's where we're at right now. Time check. We started about 8:30. It is 8:55. So, as you can see, I mean, it smoked kind of fast like I expected. Still kind of guessing it'd be about an hour or so smoke. Alright guys, I'm back. It is 5 after 9. Let the cigar rest for a second here before my next puff on it, but there's some stuff going on. Some definite changes going on here. So, let me explain those to you. First off, this thing just smokes and smokes and smokes. I mean, there's a ton of smoke output. A lot of flavor. So, the ash has been holding on since the first drop, by the way. Flavor changes. We still have earth as kind of a core flavor, but the cinnamon thing is still there, the flavor, a little bit of spice from that. But I'm also getting that cream again. The cream came back just a little bit. More of the flavor than like how something seems creamy. Does that make sense? Sometimes there's a creamy as a feel, but this is cream as like a flavor. There's a little bit of bitterness on the back ends, and on top of all the rest, it's now nutty. In the very beginning, if you remember, I smelled, I think, the foot. The whole wrapper was kind of just barn and hay, and that foot smelled a little nutty. I'm tasting that now. The nuttiness is coming through, which is just super weird. So this thing is all over the place with flavor. But yeah, I mean, it's smoking like a chimney. Chimney? What's... I think someone made fun of me once for that. I remember that years ago. I said chimney, or did I say chimney? Chimney, or chimney, like Chimney Cricket. You guys kill me when I say water. Chimney, or chimney, water, with a D instead of a T. I'm from Jersey, folks. It's just how we say it there. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania now. Anyway, there's a ton of smoke. Yeah, the flavor. I love the flavor changes. It's cool. Definitely digging flavor changing. Also, it's still light. I mean, I want to say there's probably only 15 minutes of smoking left, but maybe 10, 15 minutes, just depends. I'm actually going to take the wrapper off right now, see if I can slide it. The bottom seems like it's glued a little bit. It's squishy. Let me see. Let me see if I can show you this. You see that? It's because of the lighter pack and because it is properly... Oh, there we go. It kind of popped. Properly humidified. I like sliding these off and then flattening them out. I'll show you. And I saved them just like this. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm weird. So what? It took a tiny bit of that wrapper off, but that's okay. The binder's fine underneath. Let's see. Yeah. We're almost towards the end here anyway, so it's not going to affect anything. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, all the flavor changes and stuff. Yeah, I like it. And also, that's the other thing I was thinking of, was the fact that it's still pretty like light to maybe medium. I mean, I'm feeling like the strength pick up just a tiny bit, but it's not going to blow your socks off. I mean, if you're looking for kind of a new cigar you never had before and you want to try something different, but you're not into super strong cigars, this might be something you're looking for. I personally like all the different flavors that are coming through, coming and going. But also, if you happen to smoke earlier in the day, or in my case now, like I haven't had a meal in a while, so I have kind of an empty stomach. If I have a big powerhouse cigar, I'm going to feel sick. So some of those stronger cigars are best suited after a big meal. Whereas this, not so much. You could smoke this any time of the day if you happen to like a cigar in the morning. Might be a better, lighter cigar for you in the morning. But it's funny though, because sometimes I'll say something is light. It's kind of like when you're drinking. You ever drink a little bit, and whatever your tolerance is, it might be different than someone else's, but you throw back a few, and you're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm not even buzzed. And then you go to stand up, and you're like, oh, never mind. It's the same with cigars. Sometimes I'll smoke a cigar, and I'm like, that's not very strong, and I stand up and go, oh, maybe I was wrong. So, I don't know, sitting, sometimes you get a different perspective. I'll probably know when I'm all done, when I get up and pack everything away. And it might hit me, but I don't know. Right now I feel totally fine. Ton of smoke. It's just such an easy draw. It's really, really nice. But yeah, flavors are still good. It's not hot or anything yet. So I'm gonna go. I'll come back when I'm almost done. This ash is holding on pretty good. Remember, we only ashed it once. I have one little chunk 2 inches long in the ashtray. I don't want it falling on me. I'm kind of curious how long it's going to go again. Right to the bitter end. I'm only going to puff on this 2 or 3 more times. It's starting to get a little bit hot. I'm starting to get like a bitter dark roast coffee. You know, if you drink black coffee and you have like a super dark roast, the bitterness from that and a little bit of that coffee flavor. All the other flavors are the same. What's interesting though is I'm feeling, especially after I took that band off, it feels like there's a big stem right here. So at the very end, I'm going to take this thing apart and investigate that. It's not completely rare that high-end cigars have leaf stems in them. It's actually pretty common. Some people think that they're fake. You know, if you're super into cigars and you're like, you know, wow, this is a $15 cigar or a $20 cigar. Why is there a stem in there? It's something you'd find in a $1 cigar or a $2 cigar. But it happens. It just happens. The difference between expensive cigars and cheap cigars is usually just the tobacco quality. Where it's sourced, how long it's aged, all those things are factors that go into the price of a cigar. But I mean, the burn is perfect. Look at this ash. That's crazy. I can't remember the last time I had a cigar that just smoked with two long ashes, essentially. Let this rest for a second. And then I'm going to take one more puff and call it a day. Whew. Good timing too, it's getting a little chilly. A little too chilly to be enjoying myself out here. I'm like borderline cold. Of course I could throw on the proper equipment. I have pants on, long socks, shoes, t-shirt and hoodie. And if I came out here in an actual winter jacket, it might be a little different. Hat, gloves, the whole thing. But, yeah. Alright, so, oh, by the way, I went to time check everything. And thank you, Apple. My phone's dead. Well, can't blame them that much. I do complain all the time that the battery doesn't last very long, but this phone's like 4 or 5 years old at this point. Maybe not 5, maybe it's like 3 or 4 years, something like that. So charging it 1,000 times, obviously eventually the battery life goes down. But anyway, let's get into my last puff. Look at that thing hanging on. Oh! Should have grabbed the ashtray. Alright, I'm done anyway. Oh, one more. One more. Before I go. Yeah. Just starting to get hot. Flavors are blowing out. So I'm done. Wow, that was certainly an experience. I liked it. I really did like it. It was different. Like I said, I don't normally enjoy lighter cigars. I don't. The last thing I go for, you know, is a lighter cigar like that with a Connecticut wrapper. I much prefer, you know, deep, dark, rich Maduros. But that was really enjoyable. I was actually pretty surprised at all the different flavor changes. Obviously, they put out a good product. Price-wise, 11 and change. Let's just say you get a good deal, $9 or $10. I mean, it's more expensive than a lot of cigars. If you're used to smoking $5 and $6 cigars, yeah, it's a little bit more, but it's not out of the realm. You know, I consider it expensive, but on the grand scheme of things, you know, $10, $11, that's not expensive. If you want to, you know, experience something different, I definitely recommend it. If you like tons of different flavor changes, if any of that sounded good, you know, flavors you look for in cigars, certainly check it out. I did like that it was constantly changing. It was throwing me for a loop there. Definitely not what I expected. I really expected that to be, after smelling it and I first started, I thought it would be like hay, maybe a little cream throughout the whole thing, and it was going to be pretty steady, but it changed a lot. So pretty surprising. I would recommend it. If you've had a bunch of different cigars and you've never had one of these before, definitely worth checking it out. Now I really want to try the aged Maduros. If you've had those before, let me know down in the comments what you think. And of course, if you had this one before, let everyone else know what you think, because everyone gets something different out of a cigar. If you have one particular cigar that you smoke yourself, this is a great way to do this, by the way. If you enjoy these cigar reviews and you do actually smoke them, because there's plenty of people who watch them just for the entertainment. So I talk about all kinds of random stuff when I'm smoking cigars. But if you actually do smoke cigars, the best thing you could possibly do is get a cigar, a well-known cigar, smoke it yourself, figure out what you're tasting in that cigar, and then watch a bunch of reviews from other people and see what they're tasting. Because sometimes it's like totally different, you know. I don't watch reviews of cigars I'm going to review myself until afterwards. You know, but I might watch this video and someone else is like, oh, it's coffee and chocolate, and I'm like, what? I didn't get that at all. But that happens all the time. Or someone's like, oh, it's all wood. And I'm like, I didn't taste any wood. So there's no like right or wrong way to taste cigars. And of course, some people do taste things differently. So like, if you're watching a cigar review and I say it tastes like this or tastes like that, don't always expect. That's my experience. And if you watch 10 people review the same cigar and 7 of them say it tastes, like earth or tastes like hay or whatever it happens to be, then it probably does for most people. But it's never like a concrete, solid thing. And then I know other people that are like, oh man, I can't taste any of that stuff. Like, all I taste is tobacco. And there's nothing wrong with that either. You know, the whole point is to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, don't smoke them. It's that simple. And also another thing, when I'm describing flavors and I'm like, oh, it tastes like chocolate or it tastes like coffee, it's like a little bit of that. It's always tobacco. Every cigar I've ever had tasted like tobacco predominantly. It's something that some people forget to mention because it seems like a no-brainer, but if you've never had cigars and you're like, oh wow, it tastes like this and that, and you go try it and you're like, ugh, it doesn't taste like that at all. It's tobacco. All cigars taste like tobacco first. It might be like 80% tobacco and 20% of these other flavors. It might be 99% tobacco and just a little tiny hint of these other flavors. But yeah, don't get caught up in, oh, it's supposed to taste like this or supposed to taste like that. Whatever it tastes like to you is what it's going to taste like. This is just somewhat of a reference. The people who smoke cigars, it gives them an idea of what they can possibly expect. And that's pretty much it. So, thanks for watching. I forgot to put my pinky in the air when I was smoking that cigar. It is quite fancy. Dunhill is up there. Definitely top shelf stuff. And I enjoy my experience. And as you guys know, who watched a lot of my videos, cigar videos anyway, I do like trying different things. So I'm not necessarily going to get this one ever again, just because next time I smoke a cigar, I want to smoke something totally different. But I will say that if other people are asking about it, I would suggest it for someone who's had, you know, dozens of different brands and stuff. It's nice to check out something new. So that's it for now. Going inside, getting toasty. Giving Gus a big hug and a kiss from all you guys. People tell me all the time, give Gus a hug from me, give Gus a kiss. And every time someone says that, I do. I literally will go over him and I'll give him a big old hug or give him a noogie or play with him a little bit and I'll say, that's from so-and-so. So that actually does happen. He gets plenty of random hugs and kisses and playtime from you guys. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.